Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ken with Dead End Sports, and you are watching the fantasy football news of the day for August 29th. On a day-to-day basis, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there are always interesting takes, news, and notes that I pull from them, things that I think you can use to help you win your league. So that's what this show will consist of, just things that I've seen around the internet or things that I've heard from the different podcasts that I listen to that I find interesting and that I want to share with you guys. So let's get into it. Tracy Simien for the Denver Broncos. He beat up Mark Sanchez, and right now the Cowboys may be looking to trade for him, considering the injuries that happened with Tony Romo being out 8 to 10 weeks and having to go into the season with Dak Prescott as the starting quarterback. So from what I read earlier today is that the Broncos did reach out to the Cowboys, but the salary that Mark Sanchez is making is causing them to pause. So that means Tracy Simien is the starting quarterback. What does that mean fantasy football-wise? B and I will have that for you Wednesday. Brock Osweiler in the last game had a great game. Finally, he kind of struggled here and there throughout the preseason. People are taking DeAndre Hopkins really, really high in the first round, so it's good to see that happen. I still think that there will be some drop-off because of Lamar Miller and the impact he will have on that team by being there. But the good news is that Brock finally had a good game, and Will Fuller continues to look good in that offense. And last, of course, as we mentioned over the weekend, we reported the news about Tony Romo being out for 8 to 10 weeks. Dak Prescott is the starter for the Cowboys, and B&I, we will have that breakdown for you in terms of how that impacts Dez Bryant and Ezekiel Elliott on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Moving on, tight ends. Tight ends had a good week. Virgil Green scored a touchdown. Jared Cook scored a touchdown. Got targets. Walford almost scored a touchdown, and Eifert says that he'll be back for week 4, which means that if you don't get the tight end you want, like Gronkowski, Jordan Reed, Olsen, or maybe even Kobe Fleener, you can wait to get Eifert because a lot of guys are passing on him, and then all you have to do until he returns is stream a tight end. Virgil Reed, Jared Cook, and Walford are some good options that you have available, along with Dwayne Allen, who's sometimes going undrafted in most leagues. But what that means is that if Eifert is set to return early, he's only going to miss like a quarter of the season, and that'll give you an opportunity to get him and just stream tight ends until he returns. Running backs, Kenneth Dixon hurt his knee. He is out for 4 weeks. How does that impact Forsett? Probably not much. I mean, he's going really, really late, and that running back situation in Baltimore is really, 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 really iffy. Moving along, let's see. Hold on, let me adjust my hand here. Karlos Hyde got a concussion, and that's something to pay attention to. I mean, you still may want to draft him where you're drafting him, but concussions can linger. So you definitely want to make sure you have a backup in case that happens with him. Last year was a lost season for him as he was banged around and had a lot of injuries as the season went on. You want to make sure you have a good, solid backup in case that concussion don't go away. Jeremy Hill says he's healthier than he was last year. We'll see how that impacts him from a fantasy perspective. But it's always good to hear that players are healthy and that they're healthier than last year. When we looked at last year, it was really a letdown and many people expected a breakout season. But remember, Giovanni Bernard is there, so you may want to, if you're drafting Hill, pair the two of them together in case one gets hurt. And last, in terms of running back news, Karlos Williams, that was released by the Buffalo Bills, but the Steelers are looking at him, and apparently Karlos Williams' brother plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So moving on to wide receivers, Josh Gordon, man, you see that bomb he caught from RG3. RG3 looked a hot mess. As a matter of fact, that whole Cleveland Browns offense looked a hot mess. But you have to be satisfied and happy to see Josh Gordon catch a bomb from RG3, which is a sign of things to come. So I know a lot of people are starting to move him up in their drafts and in their rankings. Alshon Jeffrey, man, another offense that looks completely horrible so far in the preseason. So you want to make sure, considering the fact that he has injury problems and he was hurt all last year, want to make sure that you draft him with proper expectations. And looking at that offense, you definitely want to be selective on what round you pick him on. So just something to keep in mind when you're drafting. And I think when it comes to Alshon Jeffrey, you're looking for value in terms of where you pick him in the draft. Stefon Diggs finally had a breakout game. He looked good, and with him and Laquan Treadwell, you could definitely consider them two will be the 1 and 2 receiving options, and hopefully that'll open up things for Adrian Peterson. Speaking of Peterson, you might want to make sure you draft Jared McKinnon, who's really going undrafted in some leagues as a backup for Peterson because he's going to be the guy. He looked good also last weekend. The last thing I want to leave you guys with before I get out of here are some teams, and I heard this today and I thought it was interesting. It's something that you guys want to keep in mind when you're drafting. Bad offenses, teams that have looked bad offensively in the preseason thus far. So far, those teams are the Giants, the Colts, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Bills, and the Niners. Now, the Niners definitely isn't shocking you that they look bad when they have Blaine Gabbert as a starting quarterback, even though on Dead in Sports earlier I said I'll take him over Kaepernick because he can throw the ball. The fact remains that he isn't that good, and Kaepernick hasn't proven to be any better, and he's actually on the verge of being cut, maybe for performance reasons, maybe not. But anyway, that's it, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Tune in tomorrow we are doing the show live at 9 o'clock, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And I'll try to maybe get the show out, this particular update, out a little earlier before the show kicks off. We're going to talk about Kaepernick and a whole bunch of other news that took place over the weekend. So until tomorrow, man, I'll see you guys. Peace.